Hey guys, Chris and Jamie for Tillman Family Farms. We've had several people asking, ooh, I got a big old scale on my nose, about Jamie doing some horse videos. So this is a brand new horse that's here. She's gonna be doing some training with it. So we are going to start, she's never been on this horse. This horse was shipped to Georgia from, where was that horse from? Kansas. So anyhow, she's starting off, she saddled him up. Supposedly this horse is good to go to ride and all that stuff. So this is just kind of a test. She's lunging him a little bit. I'm gonna get some video of that, and then we will get her getting on them and all kinds of stuff like that. So hang tight, this is a different video for us. So I'm gonna narrate a little bit, and I'll probably say a lot of stuff wrong, even though I've been in and around horses for 30 years. But when you lunge a horse before you get on them, you're just kind of exercising them, stretching them out, getting them kind of warmed up. You don't want to just slap a saddle on one and climb up on there and give it all you got. So it's just kind of a little warm up, stretch it out, kind of like athletes do before they play a football game or a baseball game or anything like that. So that's what she's doing right now. All right, guys, so Jamie's going to tell us a little bit about the horse and where it came from and why it's here, and then we're going to move on to try to get on the horse.
All right, good morning, everybody. So this is actually current student of her very first horse, but she is a green rider, the student. This little filly, she come out of Kansas. I think this week I will have had her for 2 weeks. She just turned 5. We've been doing a lot of groundwork that I've been doing in these 2 weeks, but her feet were in horrible conditions. And I could get Chris to put some pictures in there. I would have been a little disappointed from the size of the farm she come from and the sale price of the horse and the hoof condition that she showed up in. But anyways, so we've had to let her settle down. She had farrier come out Thursday, I believe. Of course, she was so long, she was a little bit tender, so I gave her a few days rest. So this morning is first handling, lunging since having her feet trimmed. But she's here for me to ride her. She does have supposedly pretty extensive training. I could see that in her ground manners and just some wild things that we've exposed her to here on the farm. She hasn't really gotten upset about anything. Of course, she has to be stalled because she didn't want to be caught. So she does get anxious, like when the other horses leave where she's stalled at, and she gets a little upset, but those are minor details. So I'm going to be riding her until the student is truly ready to transition onto her horse. So now Chris is actually going to hold her at 42 years old. I just don't trust getting on a random just turned 5-year-old horse. So he's going to hold her while I get on her, and hopefully we don't have a wild ride.
Toby Keith song in my head right now. Should have been a cowboy.
Should have been a cowboy. And so really the only reason why I'm doing this, like I said, at the age I am now 15 years ago, I wouldn't have given 2 craps about just jumping on this horse, but we took all of our panels and made the catch pen. So I'm doing this in our big open pasture. And if for some awful reason she was to have gone crazy just me getting on her, he at least has a hold of her to where he could settle her down. And but that shows. So she come from Kansas the middle of November, shipped all the way to Georgia to a farm with no horses, and then they had her about 2 weeks before she finally come here, and she's back with horses. So for a 5-year-old, she's had a lot of transition in the last month of her life. So I'm pretty pleased that she just stood here and let me just climb right on her.
Yeah. All right, so what's next, Miss Training Lady?
So, I mean,
you want me to lead you?
You could lead me just briefly, but then we could come back right here and then just you can unclip the lead rope and I'll start.
All right.
So I don't hold her. I mean, I just want you to, loose lead her.
Tell them about leg pressure.
So since she's a new girl, I'm just trying to figure out how they trained her on the farm and the responsive. You know, a lot of these horses on big ranches are like that, are worked off of a lot more leg pressure than hand pressure. So it'll probably take me, a few good rides to get in sync with her of what they've physically done. It seems like she does have a lot more leg pressure training than anything, but she's super responsive to just that little bit that I've done right there.
All right. So she's about to be on her own. So far, so good. Ponytail malfunction. We don't have wardrobe malfunctions on the farm. We have ponytail malfunctions.
Ooh, she got a leak.
All right. So what are you doing?
Trying to see if she gonna buck at a lope or not.
Okay. So
She got a little cow bred in her, so a lot of the cow horses they tend to have a little bit more of a transition in from a trot to a lope. And I do know she worked cattle on a farm, so a lot of this is me figuring her out.
yeah.
She got a very choppy lope.
Chickens' lives are in danger. I would say that horse has never seen a barrel pattern.
Well, I think she's a little confused of what I'm asking of her with my legs versus how she's probably been trained. But we'll get there. Oh, figured that one out right there. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. All right. So she has lots of leg pressure training. I'll probably modify that just a little bit with the fact of her owner being a little bit of a green rider. I definitely think she's safe. Of course, she just turned 5 years old, and I really don't care what you know, people say, oh, they're broke, broke, broke. Any horse could hurt you. So I'll spend a lot of time working on her and the student together. Fortunately, the student, you know, she's 13, 14-year-old girl, so we're not talking about a little girl. She just needs more confidence in her riding. But we're gonna work on making this. So I thought her name was Annie. I think we may have put that in another video somewhere, but the daughter has changed it to Dolly. I'm assuming Parton. So Miss Dolly, we're gonna work with her a little bit. We're gonna make her a lovable horse.
Ooh, that's funny. All right, so no longer Annie, but now we're Dolly.
I'm pretty sure that's Dolly Parton.
Okay. All right, so far so good. Like I say, and I can just tell, I've watched this woman ride many horses, and I can tell when she has a touch of confidence in one. And she kind of fell in with this one relatively quickly, so I think that she's going to be a good candidate to get whooped into shape for this young lady that she's working on her for. So I guess we'll keep you up to date on this one. So we're about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes into this, and I keep hearing her say nice and stuff like that. So I mean, she's feeling good about some of the things that the horse is doing and will do, and she's figuring out a lot of the ways that the horse was trained. So that's going to be a big deal for her moving forward, so she can see what she can use and what she needs to change for this girl that's going to be riding this horse on a consistent basis. So normally probably not going to stay on the horse all that long. Just a little get to know you period, and a little bit of a workout, see what you can do, what you know, where you've been, all that kind of good stuff. And from there, she'll probably get off and do a whole lot of loving on them and things like that to make them know and understand that, look at that, you see those bugs? It's December. We got bugs down here, it's crazy. But this is just a process, and not sure how long the horse will be here, but this, I guess as soon as she gets to a point, the little girl will come here and actually do lessons on this horse so that she can monitor and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get Jamie to do an exit interview when she's done with this ride. So confidence went a little far, and I'm videoing. So as soon as I turn the camera off, Jamie decides to get off, which I really wanted to video all that stuff. So she got off, and as soon as she got off, she had a little too much confidence in the horse, and she dropped the reins for 2 seconds, and off the horse went. So it went over there. I would have a feeling that this horse is going to end up with some pretty bad buddy sour. But when she, of course, she was pretty easy to catch there. So we should have zoomed in on that. But anyhow, she took off. So that's going to be something to remember. But that's what this whole first encounter process is all about. We'll get Miss Jamie to tell you what just happened. All right, completely captured back. So she just took the bridle with the bit off him. So, oh, little spooky. She thinks she may be in trouble a little bit. But so just as much as Jamie's trying to get to know the horse is probably trying to get to know her. You know, we had a break-in period of, hey, I'm the one that feeds you, and I'm the one that's going to care for you, and you're going to be here for a while, and all that kind of stuff. And now it's a whole different get to know you when you're climbing up on my back. So, so Jamie, what kind of bit was that you just had in the mouth?
I don't know the name of it. So it's these setups are all called a sliding gag. It does a lot more pressure on the pole of the head versus in the mouth. You could actually be a little bit, I'm trying to find the right word. I don't want to say aggressive with your hands. The bit's very forgiving. So I use it with a lot of my younger horses or my students that want to be a little heavy-handed. But it works more off the pole versus the mouth.
All right, so give us the synopsis on how you feel like that went and what you feel like, just from that first initial ride, what you think you're going to have to work on to try to get this horse where this young lady needs her to be.
So it went great. I'm not disappointed at all. So a lot of this was like I said, the fact of just wanting Chris here hold the horse. So I will confidently ride her at home by myself. There are people on the farm. If I was to fall off and somebody saw the horse running, that they would know I was on the ground somewhere. But
hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah, hopefully that won't happen. So a lot of times you see these big farms the horses come out of these big farms and they are broke to do a job, but they lack the personal bond experience. So like, she won't take a treat out of your hand, she won't take feed out of your hand. So I don't like that. So we're going to change a lot of that.
So, you know, after the personal bond type thing, so I heard you talking about a lot about leg pressure, and I kept hearing you say, oh, nice, when you were getting her to do this or that or whatever. So talk to me about some of that stuff and tell me what you feel like was good about the ride and what you feel like is not good.
The leg pressure stuff is good. So I'm pretty positive they probably rode her pretty heavy with spurs. She wasn't as sensitive with just my regular heel pressure, but you could tell it was there. You know me, I really don't care to ride for spurs. I might put some soft spurs on just to get a little bit more pressure than my average leg. I kind of got her away from that just a little bit with the fact of her youth rider, and will be a lot of learning for a young rider like that to figure out these true cues of pressures with the legs. So
yeah. So when you're talking about leg pressure and spurs and all that kind of stuff, so everybody kind of knows bits and reins and all that kind of stuff. So the difference in controlling a horse from the reins to controlling with your legs, I know in most cases it's probably a combination of the two, but when a horse doesn't have that much leg pressure training, what's the biggest difference there as far as the rider's control of the horse itself?
So, you know, like I do with all of mine, they're strictly worked on the barrel pattern, so they have the leg pressure training there, but just in the turning aspects of it. So mine, of course, you put leg pressure in on them, just riding, and they immediately think we're going to add more speed to what we're doing, versus her, two-legged pressure, she's doing one cue, one leg pressure, she's turning one way. So there's, you know, you position your hands a little bit different, and then she was doing that full 360 pivot with just her front legs moving. So it's a little bit,
a lot of cow horse training.
Yeah, a lot of cowboy training.
Yeah. So out of Kansas, right?
Yes, Kansas.
Yeah, so that would explain the cowboy training. The further west you go, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
All right, so last thing, and we'll start kind of wrapping this up. So this is a young horse, young rider. You're training them. You're learning how to deal with the horse and what the horse does, and you know, where you think it can go from here. From this point, from today, from your initial ride, how long do you think it'll take before you could actually confidently put the little girl on this horse, even if you were to pony her next to her or anything like that?
I hope within the next 60 days. So this past week's lesson with the actual student, I learned she rides with a little bit of a fear block. She fears falling off. So mentally, we're working on the fact of understanding the anxiety that she's climbing up on the back of even my horses. She is not fully engaged in the learning aspect of the ride, versus she's constantly thinking about falling off. And then in turn, she's anxious and she's feeding that into the horse a little bit. Fortunately, mine don't get too upset about it, but they do get a little concerned about their rider, how they're feeling. So I'm hoping in 60 days, I'll actually have her on her horse, but I also can't put an anxious student on a 5-year-old and have a bad outcome. So that's my biggest fear, is having a bad outcome and the student going backwards in her learning.
Yeah. So it's got a lot to do with horse and rider
Yeah.
to make sure that both
Yeah.
are ready for the experience. So one last thing. So in this process, how often do you think you're going to ride this horse every week? Is it going to be 5 days a week?
3 to 4 days a week.
3 to 4 days a week.
Physically riding her. Now she'll get worked every day, unless farm weekend just takes up our time. But every day physically worked, but 3 to 4 times a week. I'll typically ride her with every student Monday through Thursday.
Awesome. All right. All right, guys. So that's it for this one. A lot of people have been asking for horse videos. Jamie's really great at this stuff. It's just hard for her to do videos during the week.
I'll try to set the camera up.
Yeah, there you go. So we appreciate you guys watching. If you're gonna ride a horse, please learn and do some background training and stuff like that before you just jump on a horse. Horses are a big, dangerous animal if you don't know what you're doing, and if they get spooked, they're going to do whatever they want to do. So just be safe when you do that. And Jamie's been riding horses since she was 13 and 9. First, your own personal horse at 13.
Yes, own my first.
See, I knew what I was talking about. Anyhow, we appreciate you guys watching. If you don't mind, please go down and like and subscribe and ring that bell, and we will bring you more horse videos just like you asked for. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.